Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of my Lewis Hamilton career mode here on F1 24. We arrive at Baku for round 17, which is quite rare. We're used to having Baku earlier in the season, but because in real life the calendar got reshuffled to basically improve travel efficiency, Baku is now the last European round of the calendar after Monza, which was the previous episode. Spoiler warning ahead, go check it out, link in the top right. A chaotic episode, guys. One in which we had reliability trouble. Now we'll get into that in just a little bit. Before that, let's recap, and as you can see, the post-race fallout, we took a bit of a hit on experience and especially on focus. We got an absolute clobbering on that statistic. Now, that aside, it was a tough race because it was going really well, but we had a gearbox failure, and that has meant that we've taken a bit of a hit in a few different areas. Now, one thing is recognition. We haven't actually lost anything, even though Mercedes found out we was meeting with Ferrari. There was no downside, and we also gained quite a lot on our specialists. We're very close now to level 1 on quality assurance tester, so we're gradually leveling up here and making progress. Now with that done, we arrive at our specialists for this episode, and we are going to basically keep tyres below 120 Celsius in the dry for that one. Then we go to material fabrication planner, and we're going to make sure we stress test tyres to above 32% wear during the weekend. Then on the quality aspect, we're going to go for completing a session without using a flashback. And then finally on strategy analyst, the obvious one here is going to be earn 8 championship points during a weekend, because the second one, I don't do that practice program twice over on 2 different compounds. It's basically inefficient. So with that done, we arrive at Baku, and you can see in the bottom right the worn components warning, which is something we'll address in just a little bit. Before that though, big news. Regulation changes are coming for season 2. Now this is interesting because if we sign with Ferrari, we are not going to be in control of what we can protect. So our faith a little bit is in Ferrari's hands and how they behave. So this is interesting, and we'll see how it all pans out. We'll wait for confirmation, hopefully in a future episode. But either way, forecast this weekend is dry. We had a failed weight reduction upgrade on the car, so again, hopefully we'll get that at the end of the episode or the start of the next episode. Either way, you can see here the last race, P20 in Monza, a DNF, a gearbox failure, which does mean this weekend, which kind of has been bubbling away for a while, hence the video being shorter than usual, we are not qualifying. We're starting from the back of the grid, basically sending it in the race. So you can see we're going to take another new gearbox, but our energy store and control electronics are actually very worn, and we don't have another one, and we still have 7 more races to get through and 3 more sprints. So we're going to take a new energy store, a new control electronics, and hopefully we can get to the end of the season on those components, which does mean, like I said before, we are not qualifying. So we're going to jump into practice and get that out of the way first. So starting off with our race runs, the one thing I noticed straight away, and this is good for the race, the hard tyre has no wear whatsoever, literally nothing. And I'm talking about the rear right, that isn't even like super accurate for wear, because I had a bit of a moment during these programs. So a more realistic value is actually the left rear. So if you look at the front left, left rear and front right, those are the kind of tyre wear.
Program complete and a job well done. We got some excellent data with that run, so come on back to the garage and I can take you through the numbers.
Those are the kind of tyre wear rates we're looking for. You can see here on the tyre wear, looking at the analysis and telemetry, it's super low. Even the fuel ain't too bad, but the tyres are just not going off, and it's a rare occurrence where actually even in the in-game simulations the lap timers get quicker, because basically your fuel burn rate outperforms your tyre wear rate. So in theory you're just going to get quicker on the hards every single lap, no tyre wear, and actually gain from fuel burn. So it's a really interesting dynamic around Baku. Anyway, we picked up maximum points in practice, so a very good, straightforward session, and yeah, things were looking really good. Again, we're not going to jump into qualifying because we're starting last, so basically we're going to get a double whammy of driver stats updates after this. So we're going to start off with practice. We do level up on experience, and then the rest of our stats are going to stay the same, so no change to our net driver rating. Very close now to level 92, by the way. But for qualifying, because we didn't take part, you can see here now, nothing changes, but we do take a bit of a hit on the pace, which does also hit our rating. So, yeah guys, intro, practice, qualifying, updates, all done. let's go to the race starting from the back.
A warm welcome to you from Azadlik Square, heart of Baku, and home, of course, of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With high speeds, tight corners, and few runoff zones, many are expecting a safety car here today. So our drivers will have to stay very much on their toes and hopefully out of the barriers. The Baku city circuit measures roughly 6 kilometers and is made up of 20 corners and 2 DRS zones. The circuit winds around the narrow city, through the old town, and even brushes against the city's medieval walls. However, as beautiful as the setting is, this track is also a ferocious technical challenge, where the smallest of mistakes could lead to catastrophic consequence for any one of our drivers. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday and he'll start from pole position, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Leclerc, Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Perez, Norris, Oscar Piastri, Ocon, Gasly, Albon, Bottas, Zhou, Hülkenberg, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Sargent, Magnussen, and Lewis Hamilton rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. We welcome to the commentary box Anthony Davidson. I'm Alex Jakes. We're both looking forward to a really intriguing race today. Well, it's all about forgetting last time because that was a bit of a shocker. How do they change the story today?
You've got to put it behind you. Whatever happened last time, I was always told as a driver, park it, forget about it. Obviously, feel the pain when it happens, but then you can't dwell on it and carry that through to the next race. So put it behind you and just crack on with this race coming your way now.
Here we go then, time for Baku, round 17 of the season, and we have a mountain to climb. P20, last place, nothing behind, everything in front. Verstappen on pole, Russell alongside in P2, and we're going to see how this all shakes out. Overall, I'd say I'm pretty positive. I'm optimistic. I think we've got a good car, a good setup. Everything feels really good in practice, so I think it should translate into the race, especially because we did our practice runs on the hard tyre and we're starting the race on the hard tyre also. We're going to go long, possibly could run softs at the end. The hard tyre seems to last forever around here, so we're looking at maybe a hard medium or a hard soft possibly. Fuel, 26 laps on the nose, no more, no less. We should save fuel in traffic trying to overtake. So let's just get into it. Let's go all out, get aggressive, make some moves, and hopefully at the end of it, I reckon we can fight for a podium. I might be wrong, but let's find out. The beauty of starting last is that you get to basically dictate the gap you want to the traffic, so you can actually build up a decent gap, which allows us to get some decent tyre temperature. So we're going to start the race off with not freezing cold hard tyres. Anyway, let's get to it. Hopefully this all goes well. First lap, crucial. Lights on. Let's get straight in. Let's try and keep our front wing in one piece. Lights out and away we go.
Okay, we're monitoring somewhere on the internal combustion engine. Be aware that we're going to start to see a loss of power.
We're on the outside of Ricciardo and Magnussen. We're going to be on the less favoured outside line, but now we can get the exit if we get the room, which we do. Magnussen though is going to fight it and has pretty decent straight line speed. Just braking a little bit early, erring on the side of caution, but we go around the outside of K-Mag. We're going to go for a timid lunge on Sargent, doesn't really work out. Magnussen lurking, we're going to go around the outside of Sargent here though. And get the inside for the second part of the chicane. That gives us P17. And now we go into the really slow bit, the Mickey Mouse part of the lap through the castle complex. Quite tricky to get any sort of moves done here, so we're just going to sit behind and wait. Maybe try and set up the exit possibly. Not quite. AI pretty decent on traction at the moment. We'll see once their tyres start to wear. Of course, this track is extremely rear limiting, so that will play a factor. Getting very close there to Tsunoda. Let's see if we can try and have a look on the pit straight down towards turn 1. It's a long, long straight. So this will be a proper test to see if we have decent straight line speed. Just tucking in behind the V-carb. And now we're just going to see how we hang on with hot lap mode. Sonoda flashing, so he's out of deployment, so now we're going to close in. Gradually, anyway. Slowly.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Straight through. Just letting go of the brake and letting the car roll up the inside into turn 1. So that's P16 now. Decent progress. Let's just get a bit of battery on here. Sonoda's looking to re-challenge. There we go. We keep him at bay. Next stop.
We're accumulating somewhere on the MG UK. To manage this, we're going to need to lower our ERS deployment mode.
Yep, we'll sort that out, don't worry. Anyway, next stop. Nico Hulkenberg. Right, same story. We've got a full charge. Let's try and close in on Hulkenberg here. DRS will now be enabled, so that might make things a bit more spicy. Bit of overtake. Russell setting the pace out front. To be fair, there is a split in the train. You've got a leading group and then a second group.
Okay, no issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them.
We're quite close enough there. The Haas pretty quick on the straight. They're battling up ahead. This might slow down the pace a little bit through this slower bit, which might provide an opportunity as we just clip our left rear on the inside of the barrier there. Thought I could maybe put a lunge at some point. It seems like out front a Ferrari has escaped and then the pack has reformed. Russell leading that second group now, so obviously battling quite heavily, but that Ferrari getting away is good news. It means, you know, Max hopefully won't win the race. Right, Charles Leclerc, bit of a Baku icon. Anyway, struggling to make progress at this stage, I really am. Just hard to pass around here in general. The pace isn't terrible from the AI either.
Okay, Lewis, let's try and climb up the order. I'm setting you a new target. Push, push.
Opportunity, straight through. We get Hulkenberg. Got a nice run there through that chicane, and crucially for the first time I got the exit on the AI, so we took full advantage and made some progress. As for P12, we've got time, 4 laps, so things will open up. We're lurking. We might be able to run it back again with the same move. Yep, this time even better than last lap. Braking late, letting go of the brake to let the car roll in front. This tyre has no wear whatsoever, literally. Look at that, after 6 laps. Even the rears, we've done a great job of just managing the rear tyres. So those mediums might fade a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, but these tyres can basically do 100% race all the way through. Oh, Gasly in the wall.
Just follow the safety car. Don't worry about the target. Follow the safety car.
Wow.
Okay, the safety car is out. Safety car is out. We need to form up at reduced pace. Keep a close eye on that delta time. Make sure to keep it positive.
It actually exists. The first safety car of this entire career mode has finally been deployed. Now, do I pit? I mean, I don't know what to do. This is really awkward. If you're on mediums, you go hards to the end now. I've got to think. I think I'm going to box for mediums and try and get them to the end. We might suffer at the end of the race, but I think it's
George is coming in for his stop.
it's worth taking. This is one of the longest and slowest pit lanes of the whole calendar. Oh, nice. We managed to pass Albon. Took a risk. Can we get a quick stop? Oh, it's a slow stop. It's a really bad stop. I took that risk for nothing. Actually, no, it still worked out. We actually jumped Albon. We've jumped a lot of cars.
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go.
So we've jumped a load of double stackers. So we are P7 on mediums. Piastri also on mediums and P5. So, well, that's interesting. So Russell P2, We're now P7, Verstappen should be P3. Oh, this race has really opened up. That safety car's really changed things, but what a pit entry that was. I think that's my first ever overtake on a car on pit entry. Now, interestingly, Verstappen is also on mediums, so that could open things up. Leclerc, I believe, is on a hard, and Russell's on a hard, so we've actually got a bit of a mix of tyres. Now, my issue is I've got no tyre temperature because we're going so slow. So we'll try and scrub them up now before the restart. Didn't do a good job on tyres, still pretty cold, but again, we have the grip advantage, so they should warm up hopefully after the first sector. Just got to be careful to not lock up or do anything rash. Again, long way to go, long race, so we're not going to panic into making moves. Let's just try and get a good clean restart and take it from there. And away we go. Can't pass before the finish line. If I had warm tyres, I might have gone for that on the inside, but what if I do a Lewis from a couple of years back? Let's just take our time with this. We've got the advantage on grip. These guys are on hards. It won't take long. Could be right here. Traction, not great. Braking late. Oh my god. Engine this time. Not the gearbox. Engine gone. Oh wow, okay, now that one is interesting. Russell, Verstappen up there. That's a big retirement. I mean, luckily we were starting last. We wasn't starting on pole or anything, which would have been really painful, but now the retirements are starting to stack up. I need to double check the settings in case the frequency's wrong, but I think it's on low. So this is a big moment for the championship, a really big moment. The issue is the AI doesn't know where to pull over. That was a big escape road back there, but clearly it wasn't enough. But there we go. That's going to be the end of our race. This is interesting for the championship, really interesting. And Russell right now battling with Verstappen, Leclerc out front. I guess we're going to find out who wins.
Monaco will win again. Charles Leclerc takes the checkered flag.
It was a joy to watch today, honestly, because the driver was clearly able to read the conditions well on track, to use the information properly from the team, and usually come up with the right solution at the right time.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
So there we go then, results in. Leclerc picks up the victory, Russell P2, Verstappen only P3 from pole, so doesn't really convert, but does pick up the fastest lap of the race, so does get an extra point for that, but it's not maximum points, and that is a small positive we can take from that race. Alonso P4, and then of course Sainz P5, and then the usual suspects filling out the rest of the top 10 spots, with Albon taking the final point, of course, because we are not there. So there is your final running order. Now we're going to quickly confirm the results. At the bottom it should be myself and Pierre, also Sonoda retiring from that race. So what does that mean for the championship? So Verstappen now 1 point behind. We don't lose the lead, but our small margin has gone like that. Russell up to 7th with that second place finish, Leclerc 4th with that race win, and then in the constructors, Red Bull move further ahead, 6 points now the gap, back in front, only small gains, but still gains regardless, so yeah, not ideal. Anyway, much like the previous episode, we're going to go back to upgrades and basically extend the episode to hopefully not give away there's been a retirement, so let's get into it. So, a pretty bad weekend, not qualifying and DNFing. We do lose a bit, rating-wise, not so much, but experience and focus do get a pretty heavy hit. We do gain in our other stats though, so that's something. Recognition, Russell getting a better result doesn't really change anything for us though, so the percentage stays unchanged. We then go to specialists, and we are very, very close now to level 3 manufacturing. Very, very close. So yeah, making progress all the time. With that said, back in the office, as you can see, we are currently looking pretty decent for R&D points, 1,382. The next race in 3 days time, short turnaround. In terms of messages, our contract status is looking pretty decent. We get an extra 400 R&D points per standard race engine failure. So let's have a look and see what we can purchase, because we have had a failure, but we might want to upgrade elsewhere. We've got the brake ducts, which have a pretty decent discount. To be fair, we might actually be able to fit those on and still repurchase the failure. So I'm going to get those on the car and waste no time. And we're going to then get that failed part, which I believe is the durability on the energy store. And we're going to get that on the car as well. So that takes care of upgrades before the race in Kota. Quite a big gap, to be fair, a month between Singapore and Kota, which I believe in real life is going to be the autumn season break. So that'll give us a chance to hopefully get some upgrades done in that time. But of course, that regulation change is just around the corner. So how many more updates are we really going to do? So we skip ahead on the timeline and we arrive at Singapore, of course, with the updated layout. Now, before we jump into the weekend, there is one thing I want to note and show, and that is, of course, the engine component that we did lose in that race. So we lost our turbocharger, which is not terrible. We have our second unit on 55% and we have one unit left. So we can make it to the end of the season on that fourth one, hoping we have no more failures. But the one thing I want to check is going to be the settings. Now, I believe, I set the frequency to low, so hopefully it's not a bug and we're just basically being very unfortunate with the failure. So in theory, it shouldn't happen again. I remember when we had a failure earlier on in the season, the first gearbox issue we had, the next race was fine. So 1 + 1 doesn't always equal 2 in this. So let's see what happens in the next one. Either way, guys, that is going to be it for today's episode of Career Mode. Hopefully it's not too short on the video time, so you guys don't know exactly what happened. But anyway, like, subscribe. We go again the next one in Singapore. The title fight is still on. We still lead by 1 point, so it's all to play for. Anyway, guys, reg change around the corner. A lot's going to happen in Season 2, so stay tuned. Subscribe. As always, a big shout out to the members for supporting the channel and the content. Check out the videos, link down below, and of course the videos on screen. And yeah, cheers for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon. Take care, and it's goodbye from me.